Okay, good morning. Today is August 23rd of 2024, and we're going to go over yesterday's price action as well as the outlook for today. Okay, so yesterday, right off the morning open, I was offside, but once I figured that out, I was able to recalibrate and get in a couple pretty good opportunities. So, uh, one mistake I did yesterday, and I don't even know why I failed on the higher time frames when in the lower time frames it's easy for me to spot. But I guess again, I guess that's like a small portion that I did not analyze, and it ended up, well, it didn't really do anything bad to me. I still ended up tiny red with those first three trades. Um, and it put me on tilt for just a second, but then I was able to come back from that. But anyways, yesterday after I immediately noticed this sweep above here, I should have immediately assumed that price would retrace lower or would continue higher. But the fact that price had already swept these highs going into the 0930 open should have been an immediate sign for me to take a step back and wait for structure to form once again. And I didn't do that. I actually waited for price to, I actually immediately assumed the price would continue drawing higher, and it did momentarily. And yeah, it did. And again, right off the open, we had a draw higher. Price swept this weekly objective that I was looking at, and here price didn't. So that in itself is SMT. So that's a first sign that we would most likely reverse. Another sign is, as you can see here on the 4 hour, here it did close above, but not by much. And then obviously here you have a big black candle, but this should have been one of the first signals. Well, this and this with this and this should have been the first two indicators that price would likely seek sell stops. Um, but obviously, in hindsight, I wasn't looking at that for some reason. I was very confident and ended up with three trades that put me a tiny red, and I was able to make that and then some here. But let's go over this real quick. So again, right off the bat, I should have realized that price was not closing like it usually does here. See here, after price swept the high, price closed very bullishly. So I should have expected for price to close up here. Should have expected for price to close up here. If it would have closed up here, um, sort of like this, or even like this right here, then I would have expected for price to even to maybe retrace and then draw higher, or just continue drawing higher. But since the closes were here, it makes logical sense that prices did seek sell stops. Same thing on the hourly. As you can see here, closes were very bearish. So again, another indication. So right after the open, I was looking for longs because I did see a signature in price that told me maybe price is drawing higher. I saw this breaker here. Same thing here. I saw a breaker here. Yep, right here. And on top of this breaker, I saw multiple areas of imbalances right here. And obviously on NQ, I shouldn't have even done that. Tiny imbalance here, and that, yeah, that was a big no-no. On ES, I saw it, and Q, I didn't see it. And Q is the one where I actually decided to take it along here. So I got in right about here, and I covered one contract here. I jumped in again, trying to look for the bottoms, and that ended up punching me in the face. So again, not good, not a good model. Even though it is a good model, a good breaker, and all of that stuff, bias was completely wrong, and bias should have been the first thing for me to look at after the sweep of those highs. So let me just go ahead and delete these. I need to keep these here just in case. Okay, so once I realized that I was offside, I noticed the displacement lower, displacement lower, and so this to me was the drawn liquidity. Same thing for me. These lows were the drawn liquidity, and so once I saw the price was drawing lower, I began looking for shorts, and as you can see here, price swept below 30. Was it a 30 or a 15 minute? Let's just make sure. I think it was a 15 minute. Yep, it was a 15 minute. I mean, it was a 30 minute. I mean, it was a 15 minute. Jeez, it was first a 15, then it was a 30. Or this one was a 5 minute. Okay, yeah, it was a 5 minute. My bad. Okay, let's just not even use this one then. Okay, so we saw this right here. This right here. This is actually a 30 minute or a 15 minute. Yep, it was a 30 minute because, yep, it was a 30 minute. Okay, so again, price is placed lower. The 5 minute breaker was rejected, so that became in itself a 2022 model. But again, I wanted price to continue drawing lower because what I wanted to see was I wanted to see price close below extreme discount of this range. And as you can see here, well, this is extreme discount. All right, whatever, let's do it. Okay. Extreme discount. On the 15-minute price closed below here on NQ. On ES, it didn't. Yep, right here. Assume this is extreme discount. As you can see here, tiny wick here, but here it did close below. So I started looking for an entry lower. And so I began to look for SMT on the 15-minute. As you can see here, we broke below this 30-minute breaker block, and we closed below it. And so I began to look for entry here on the 30-minute. As you can see, we rejected this area on the higher time frame. You look at the 15-minute now, you notice that price here swept this high. Here, price did not sweep this high. So that in itself is SMT. So first stage SMT, right here. Second stage SMT. Second stage SMT. Daily SMT, 15-minute SMT, 15-minute SMT. And so, again, I began to look for entry. And once I noticed the second stage SMT, I didn't necessarily enter just yet, which I should have because this right here was turtle soup. Up, down, price, break a block, rejection, rejection, sweep of this high, and then price continued with the trend. And I saw those, but I hesitated for just a second. This right here is the high of the 15-minute. As you can see, this high never broke this high. Here, this was the 15-minute. So this high broke this high. Actually, this is the 15-minute. So this high was broken by this high. So that in itself, like I said, is SMT. Yeah, let's go ahead and do this. No. All right, right there. So again, 15-minute high was not swept. Here, 15-minute high was actually 15-minute high was not swept. 15-minute high was swept. So price displaces lower. So this could have been my entry, right? This could have been my entry, but again, I didn't get in. So I wait again, and what do you know? Price displaces lower after it's taken this low here. But by this time, I had already extended this range, and by this time, as you can see, price had closed very aggressively down here below the new day opening gap. Same thing here. Price closed below this extreme discount of this whole range. Let me just show you this whole range here. So then this became the dealing range because this one was swept as I started look for an entry. And again, second stage distributions are my bread and butter. So I began to look for entry, and again I noticed second stage SMT on the lower time frame the lower you zoom in, the easier. I mean, I don't know, the more you have to pay attention to the second stage. So first stage on the daily, second stage on the 15. First stage on the 15, second stage on the 1 minute. Same thing here. First stage on the daily, second stage on the 15. First stage on the 15, second stage on the 1 minute. So again, price did not sweep this high here, price did, so I ended up taking this one short and I covered it into this area here for a pretty good 50-point win. Actually, it was a lot more than that. I think I covered as soon as price broke the low. So I covered here. In hindsight, I probably should have held on to it to maybe get double that. But again, once price did that, it's a lot of times price can easily reverse, and look what it did here. It came back to 50% of the range. I probably would have gone stopped out if I had looked to cover a new week opening gap. So that was it for that day. That was it for the morning session. Shit, wrong one. That's fine. Okay, so then I come back in the afternoon. What happens in the afternoon? I start looking for continuation, because when price is trending and price is seeking the lows, you always have to assume that price will seek for the low of day towards the last hour before the close. Right here, right here. So that is a rule you always have to go by, and it's the safest rule to go, because again, when price is on a clear downtrend or a clear uptrend, price will most likely look for the low of day towards the last hour of the day. And so I began to look for an entry. I began to first look to see where price is likely to retrace into. And when you see that, when you pair away, when you look to see where the price is likely to go, you have to assume that price will likely retrace 50% of the range. And I don't mean this whole range. I mean, where is the most current dealing range? Okay. Swing low, swing high, swing low, swing high, sweep of the swing high, sweep of the swing low, draw lower, draw lower. So this started that continuation of the downtrend. Same thing here. Swing high, swing low, swing high, swing low, sweep, sweep, draw lower. As you can see here, there's no swing high or swing low. So this isn't the dealing range. It's from this high to this low. Dealing range retraces back into 50%. Same thing here, retraces back into 50% on this gap right here. And this gap just happens to be, oh wow, I thought it was a 30-minute for some reason. Oh, never mind. Okay, well, it was a 30-minute, but here there wasn't a 30-minute. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so as you can see here, dealing range, dealing range. Here, price drew into 50% of the range, and what do you know? It respected constant encroachment, where price did not even close above it. It wicked above it, but it still drew lower. Same thing here, didn't even touch constant encroachment. So this led me to believe that price would likely seek the lows. Again, the rule is to seek for continuation and for price to draw the low or the high of the day if in a trending market. So I decided to go with ES on this one. One of the reasons was because I'll show you here in a second. Okay, so start looking for continuation. I look for in this situation, you don't necessarily need to look for SMT, although it's advisable, but you don't necessarily need to look for SMT. If you're confident on the trade, just look for an entry. Just look for displacement. First, look for retracement into 50%, then look for displacement with an order block and a fair value gap, and you enter on that fair value gap, seeking the lows with the stop at the high. So I didn't see that during the 1400 macro, because in the 1400 macro we were drawing higher. But my idea was to actually look for draws lower, and we had this tiny little gap right here on the 5-minute. Here it was more defined. Gap here, obviously it did draw higher, but Your stop is to be here if you're looking for entry here. Okay, so this would have been my tiny gap. But when you're not so sure that this might be the gap, all you have to do is just zoom in. And as you can see here, on the 1 minute is more defined. Same thing here, 1 minute is more defined. These four up close candles are the order block. Same thing here. Actually, no, this one is much more defined. In hindsight, I probably should have gotten into with this one, but I actually went with this one because I wanted to trade minis, not micros, because obviously minis pay more. So displacement lower, retracement, and I wanted to see price sweep this high. Right here to me is a pool of liquidity. Okay, once price swept this high, I hit the sell, and I had a little drawdown. But as long as your stop is set, you step away from the market and you come back if or when you get stopped out or price works in your favor. And so I had to wait a couple of minutes. Again, this was during the 1500 macro, right? So I got in at 1530, 1503, and went short. I stepped away from the computer actually. And had I been zoomed in, I probably would have taken my stop here. Actually, I wouldn't have, but I would have gotten a little anxious after this price action started showing up. But I actually kept the chart on the 5 minute, and once I saw the prices started to close lower, I covered into this area here. Now, in hindsight, I probably should have waited here, but a lot of times I fail when price retraces, and I probably would have ended up getting scared of it because I thought price was gonna reverse on me. Same thing here. This one was a lot more easier to hold because obviously here price never retraced back into this area here. And so honestly, that's also was it SMT? Let me just double check. No, there was no SMT on the 15 minute. Okay. But again, as long as you're correct with your bias and the setup is there, then you don't necessarily need SMT. SMT just strengthens your bias and strengthens your belief that price is going to work in your favor. Obviously, you still hold your hard stop wherever your stop is, and you just let price do its thing, and it'll either stop you out or it won't. So that was it for the day. Two great wins, one on NQ and one on ES. So for today, I'm coming into the market expecting that if we took objected, I'm not going to look for continuation. I'm not going to look for a reversal because today we do have Jay Powell speaking, and he is going to. It's a speech through Jackson Hole. So, all right, let's delete that. Let's keep that. So yeah, it's his Jackson Hole speech. So I'm not gonna necessarily be looking to enter off the 10 o'clock macro because when he speaks, one of the rules is to not trade until the afternoon. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna wait until the 1330 macro or maybe even the 1300 macro, which I may come back for. And as it stands right now, this is the dealing range we're at. I am looking for lower prices today. Jeez, I always got phlegm buildup for some reason. Okay. So today I'm just going to follow price, see what it's doing. I'm not going to even take a paper trade. Now I say that, but hopefully I'm not impulsive. So again, this is the dealing range currently on the lower time frame, but I'm pretty sure it got violated plenty of times already since we just went through two sessions. So, but I'm just gonna elongate this thing. All right, let's leave it at that. Okay, so what's my bias if I had one today? Today I would look for continuation to the downside, really. um, because now let me rephrase that. I would look for continuation to the downside, okay? Because here we have relative equal lows. On the 1 hour, we actually have relative equal lows here. So, let's just leave it there like that. Geez, whatever. And it's also a PDL, previous day low. Okay, so again, we have relative equal lows between this low, and then on the hourly we have two relative equal lows. So same vicinity, so I would expect for price to sweep this low and then maybe get a reversal. Same thing here, I would expect for price to sweep this low and maybe get a reversal. Okay, this low right here. Or um, again, the reason why I'm bullish, okay, so let me explain this real quick. Because I'm getting too far ahead for myself. So let's start again. The reason why I'm bullish is because price here, even though it closed below constant encroachment, we have this breaker here. And as you can see here price penetrated this area and still closed within this gap here. And so I would expect the sweep of this low and then for price to draw higher. Um, Same thing here. I would expect here price closed above constant encroachment, and so that's a bullish sign. It did not sweep this low. It did not trade into this breaker here on the daily. What has me still assuming the price is going to draw higher is also that even though you have a breaker here, that in itself is a unicorn model, and you have a gap here. So it makes logical sense that price would reverse here and then draw higher. Um, so that is what I'm expecting for on the daily. On the 4 hour, we have displacement lower. Okay, on the 4 hour we have displacement lower, and what I would look for is I would look to see how price behaved overnight, because what I want to see is I don't want to see this sweep yet. What I want to see is I want to see a draw higher, sweep of this high, not up to this high, but maybe like a tiny bit. I want to see liquidity taken, liquidity sweeps at the highs, and then for price to reverse, draw into this area. Same thing here. I would like for price to draw into this area here, rebalance this imbalance, not necessarily the whole imbalance because it's a pretty wide gap. Right, so it's a pretty big gap. So again, this would violate this dealing range, sweep here, draw higher into these lows, and then reverse. Um, so that those are the two biases I have. Either a draw into here, draw lower, sweep, reverse. Same thing here, draw higher, sweep of the highs, reverse, draw lower, sweep of this lows, reverse, and draw higher. Uh, but if it did not sweep this low, these highs here, and it did sweep these lows here, then I've no what's the word, interest in getting long, because what I want to see is I want to see internal to external, and then external to internal, maybe somewhere here if it creates an imbalance. Um, I would be highly surprised if we didn't sweep these highs and then draw lower. Uh, or I would be highly surprised if, yeah, if we didn't do that. So I'll be looking for something like that. But again, today we do have Jackson Hole. Jay Powell speaks at 10. So I'm not going to be trading until at least 11. If there's no clear entry at the 1100 macro, then I'll be trading in the in the 1330 macro, or even 1300, um, because it is Friday and I'm not looking to get back any of yesterday's profit as well as this week's. Had a pretty good week, so I'm looking to just keep it. And if I don't see any entry after objectives have been taken, um, then I'm not gonna even participate. I'll just wait for structure more. But anyways, let's go ahead and connect to data, see where we are, where we stand. Do I need any of these other ones? Yeah, I do. I just want to see. This is the daily gap. I don't expect price to reach this area, but if it does, then I'll be highly surprised. Oh, crap. I didn't even take a look at the 60-minute. All right, 60-minute, there is a tiny gap here. So I would expect this gap to get filled on the lower time frame. Same thing here. No, there's no gap here. So that's fine as long as it's 4 hour. It gets swept into. Wow. Okay. All right. So um, no bias. I don't like this. Yep, I don't like this whatsoever. Looks like it's rebalancing this whole imbalance here. This right here is a breaker block. So let's just do this. Ah, darn. Yep, let's just do this. 10 o'clock, 8 o'clock. Uh, okay, so 2022 model. I want to see what price does here. Here, there's a tiny imbalance. So let's just leave that there between this high and this low. So, um, yeah, I don't like the retracement all the way past this high here. But again, I would like to see how the 4 hour closes. If we get displacement lower, then I'll look for lows because then this becomes the whole market maker sell model right here. Okay, yep, that becomes market maker sell model. Let's go ahead and put this 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock right here. This is the midnight open. Midnight open. Here, a little weaker. We closed above this area here, so it is violating bearish PD arrays while on the 1 hour. 9 o'clock. This right here just happens to be the breaker as well. And we just hit consequent encroachment there. So I'm gonna leave these two as these two there. Too much drawing on there. I don't like that. So I'm just gonna yeah, I'm definitely not trading during the morning session because this doesn't tell me anything just yet. We did no, we haven't touched any of that. So let me still leave it there though. The only way I'll get interested again is if I see displacement, like true displacement, and I mean something like this. Actually, I want to check on something real quick. I had another pretty good win, and that was oil. Oh man. Okay, so see this displacement here? I got short right here, covered into here, and I think here, and then the last one I ended up taking here off during the afternoon session. That was in another account though. Um, but anyways, let's go back. Okay, so we have breaker block here, 50% here. We are rejecting consequent encroachment here. Here we haven't even touched it. On the 4 hour, let's just take a look at the 4 hour. We barely touched it. You know what? Let's do this. Yeah, way better. Okay, yeah, that tells me a lot more. 4 hour. Okay, so we are getting displacement lower. I like that. 1 hour, 1 hour. All right. Dealing range here. This I don't need. This I'll just leave here up to this area. And this one I'll leave here up to this area as well because I wanna be able to see where price is. Okay, that's all I need to see. Okay, so again, displacement lower, displacement lower. I would like to see a clean close below this area here. Here on the 15-minute, I don't see anything just yet. I actually do see a breaker on the 15-minute. All right. I don't add breakers much because they don't tell me much unless I'm actually seeing clear structure, and so far we are. So this right here, this breaker. You're using the body of the candles. That's all you're using. And you want to see how price closes, opens around it. Okay, so displacement. We are getting displacement in the 15-minute. And this to me is the dealing range currently from this high to this low. Okay, so now again, what am I looking for is SMT at the highs, some sort of SMT. There's no SMT just yet because this high was never swept yet. This high was never swept yet. We have this big imbalance that we just rebalanced, finished rebalancing. Same thing here. We only rebalanced about, and then we still closed above consequent encroachment. So I'm not gonna, again, right now, even though price is displacing, I am not, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a reversal. Um, so just like I did yesterday. Yesterday I was outside, so I took a step back and waited for second stage distribution, which was right here, second stage, to complete this market maker sell model. Same thing here. What I want to see is I want to see displacement below these areas, and I want to see price close aggressively below these areas, because if I see that, then I will look to enter for second stage distribution, um, and best below midnight open. So that's it. That's what I see for now. I do expect this new week opening gap to act as magnets. Once again, magnets. So that's what I'm looking for on this today. So yeah, bearish still. I don't like that we retraced that high, but that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Let me just make sure I have the right one. A couple of days ago, I realized that I had the timing all wrong as far as up to what time the box is calculated, and it hadn't made a big much of a difference, but I think it was on this one. No, this one right here. I realized that I had made that mistake. Okay, so once again, as you can see here, we are retracing higher. We are retracing higher. So just waiting for now. I'm not gonna take an entry at all. I just want to see how price develops, and I'll shoot my shot during the 11 macro or the 1300 macro. Let me take a look real quick when the last time Jerome Powell spoke was at the 1000, 930. It was last the 7-9. Let's take a look. Because I want to show you why we don't trade until after Jerome Powell speaks. Okay, here we go. Yeah, okay, so here Jerome Powell spoke. Look at these wicks above and below. So during these times, if you're looking to enter the market, nothing. Didn't offer you crap. But as you can see here, after 1300, 1330, what did it do? It reversed. Now, this isn't the best entry, but I'm 100% sure that there was a pretty good play there. So let's take a look. I probably did trade it. I just don't remember. Here we go. Is it this one? Oh, right here. Oh yeah, yeah, I remember this now. Okay, so as you can see here, nothing, just zigzags. And once it took it to the highs, it drew lower, right here, and right here. As you can see, this is a more clearer price action, right? So as you can see here, price displays lower, rebalance into an imbalance, into 50% of the range, and you expect for price to draw the low of day towards the last hour, the second part of the day, really. And so that's why this short right here was very, very good. I don't remember if I took it that one. It was a long, long time ago. So, but yeah, that's why you don't trade during Jerome Powell's speech in the morning, because here, nothing, nothing yet. Oh, I'm still surprised. I thought oil was going to continue to draw lower, but it just drew higher. So even though I took that short on the, I'm glad I covered because overnight it drew higher. That's kind of interesting. Oh, it's loading. Yep. Anybody that was short is probably getting stuck right now because I promise you there's probably an entry there. Yeah, there's probably people short right now. There's really no entry here. Um, yep, there's no entry. Price spooled all the way into this area here. Yep, and the hourly price has been consolidating all day. Right here on this displacement lower, price drew into uh, the high of that gap. So, uh, yeah, nothing. I don't have anything. There is SMT between this low and this low here, this low and this low here, but I am leaning bearish still, even though we did retrace higher than I had expected to. 50% of this range is actually, I didn't look at that yet. All right, so just just into that. NQ didn't. So I would look to take NQ as the weaker of the two since it didn't reach 50%. Again, no entry. I'm leaning bearish because I do expect these relative equal lows to get swept. Maybe today, I don't know, but I am leaning bearish today. Is this week's new week opening gap? Yeah, it is. Darn, we do have a pretty all right, we do have power of 3 then. Power of 3 is manipulation. No, consolidation, manipulation, expansion, continuation. So even though we open down here, power of 3 is up here. Consolidation, manipulation, expansion, continuation maybe. So that's what I'm looking for today. I'm looking for continuation to the downside. But again, I still want to see displacement. If I don't see displacement, then no reason to get in. So we just wait. Oh, this dude is online. ICT is online too. ICT started his 2024 mentorship, and a lot of what he's saying. Oh my God, he talks forever. Um, and a lot of the stuff that he says is true, and I swear by it. But um, I'd say he talks about stuff outside of trading for about, I don't know, maybe 50% of the time, and the other 50% is concentrated on the mentorship. The other 50% is actually about life and how you should be, your state of mind should be, and how you should be applying real life lessons onto trading, because trading and real life are the same, really. Because with trading, you can't trade unless you see proper structure, and in life, you have to have proper structure in order to be successful. You can't just, But anyways, something took me years to learn as to the commonalities between trading and structure and real life. So yeah, and Q to me is a lot more a lot better than ES. ES I'm not liking. So ES I think will be the lagging one, and Q might be the right one. So got about 15 minutes, and I will be calling it well, the usual 10 o'clock macro. Let's take a look at the 5-minute. All right, so we do have an imbalance here that's rebalancing. Price hasn't. Oh, it just finished the what's the word? The objective. ES still hasn't rebalanced anything. Maybe here to here. So yeah, NQ just finished this tiny rebalance here. But again, I want to see how the 15-minute closes, because the 15-minute will give me indication as to where price wants to go, even though I'm not going to end up taking a trade. 60-minute. This one's it right here. This is a 4-hour breaker. So many down close candles here. Oh, jeez. I don't even know why I'm yawning. I mean, I ate. Nothing here. So, looks like EN and ES and NQ are deviating from each other. ES is drawing higher, well, I mean, yeah, ES is drawing higher while NQ isn't. So I think we just have consolidation for now. All right, so 15-minute just closed. On the 15-minute, it closed above this breaker. Closed above this breaker. Actually, on NQ, it closed below that breaker. Right there. But I'm not sold. Ugh, that pisses me off greatly. I forget to keep on locking these drawings. Let me make sure I lock them now. That way I don't have to deal with this crap. Because this one's overlapping all the other ones. That's why I closed it. Alright, so if you're bullish and the fact that this price closed above constant encroachment of this, then I would look to, I mean, if you're bullish and you're looking to actually trade now, then maybe a continuation higher is not out of the realm of possibility. But I don't expect it to break this high. I think right now what we're doing is we're generating liquidity, because even though here on the 15-minute, well, here on ES is not much, but as you can see here, we have swing high, swing low. But the only thing is the high of this candle, so this makes this the swing high, and it's technically not a swing low, right? So not necessarily a swing low, so not necessarily a breaker. So this could end up being the breaker. Same thing here. This could end up being the breaker. Similar to something I saw a couple of days ago where I was able to get in on the 30-second, and then once again on no, not this one. It's actually this one. No, not that one. This one right here. Okay. So, but obviously this is to the upside, to the downside. Swing high, swing low on the 30-second, sweep of either, draw higher. Same thing here. Swing high, swing low, draw higher. Sweep of this high, sweep of this low, draw higher. So something similar on the higher time frame here on the 15-minute. So let's see. I have the 60-minute here, but on the other one I have the 15-minute and the other time frames. So 10 minutes until he starts talking. I don't care what he says, just how the price reacts. There's no gap here for price to be behaving this way. On the 15-minute, there is a gap right here between this high here and this low here on the 15-minute. On NQ, there was a gap right in the same vicinity, but that gap was swept after price took the New York open low. And there's no gaps there, so price is very the only thing I do see is that price is very lethargic on the draw higher, so it does lead me to believe that price may look to draw lower. But again, I'm not taking any shorts or anything. I don't see any clear structure. On any other given day, I probably would have ended up shorting this had price closed below this area. 1 second. All right, so again, nothing. It's just cannon fodder. This right here, on any other day where price is clearly bullish, would be rebalance, where you enter here and look for price to draw higher. Same thing here. SMT at these lows, SMT at these lows. Not on the 15-minute though. So anybody that's looking for SMT right now is probably looking to take, or it's probably long right now. Uh, means nothing to me just yet. Let me get rid of this right here. I'm gonna leave it here because just because price did not close below this area, and then Q it did obviously, but just because it didn't close below it doesn't mean that it won't be re-engaged later on. But if this happens to be the breaker, then I'll look to trade within the swing high and swing low. If I took this trade long off of this SMT, which again is an SMT, it's actually only SMT in the 1 minute. So if I would have taken this trade off of SMT, then I would have covered already here, because here I don't expect continuation. 4 minutes until the until Powell starts speaking. So I am almost positive that there are people getting long here. SMT, draw higher, imbalance drawn, draw higher. This to me looks like a 3-drive pattern. That's a bearish sign. 3-drive pattern where it gets people to assume the price is going to draw higher, and then the carpet is swept below them. Yep. So now you have people thinking, oh shit, should I cover? All right, so I'm paying attention to this breaker here because we did close right below consequent encroachment. Yeah, I'm still keeping an eye on this. I want price to close below this area here on the 15-minute. ES hasn't and Q has already, but I would still like the next candle to close below it. Let's take a look at the 5-minute. I need to start using my hotkeys to get from one one time frame to another. Nothing. Okay, 1 minute until he starts speaking. Let's see how price reacts. Yep, ICT is still online. He'll probably talk until 12. That's a 4-hour video. Yeah, I want to see a sweep of either of these two. Is he speaking right now? I mean, is there a channel where he speaks at? Oh, there he is. Jerome Powell. All right, there it comes. All right, so now I want to see how price reacts here on the 15-minute. Okay. Again, not taking any trades until 11 or 1300, but I want to see the reaction. If price starts closing here with flat tops, then okay, so we had a sweep here between this high and here. We haven't yet. All right, but if it sweeps the high, then no, then I have to just keep staring to see where it's going. If we draw higher, I want to see something like this. This is the high of displacement. Draw higher, we violate all of these bearish PD arrays. Same thing here. Close above here, close above here. We don't sweep this high, and that would make this relative equal highs, just like this. We get displacement, retracement into the afternoon session, and we get long after price took out this swing low, this swing high, and this swing low. And maybe this happens during the 1300 macro. All right, so we swept both of these highs. Nothing. Yesterday, price took the weekly objective, and Q has yet to take that. This was my weekly objective, so it's not out of the realm of possibility. But again, I want to see how price closes on the 15 and 1 hour. Okay, so we're rebalancing. Actually, how did that 1 hour close? 4 hour, I mean. All right, so this is out of the way. This is out of the way. This is out of the way. All right, so it does look like we're rebalancing this whole area. Consolidation, manipulation, expansion. I want to see how price closes here. 1 hour, I want to see how price closes here. This high was swept. So this is a pool of liquidity here. This high was swept. All right, so now I want to see how price closes up here, because to me this is the last line of defense. So depending on how price closes within these areas here will give me a bias to either get long or short heading into the 11 o'clock macro. We did leave a void here, but that's really nothing, not much of a difference. So yeah, again, higher time frame SMT could once again be higher time frame SMT here. But again, I want to see how price closes here. What the hell was that? Oh. Is there a gap here? No, there isn't. Oil is still drawing higher. Oh, this was the trade I took yesterday on oil. I took this short here, 4 contracts right in this area, covered 2 here, covered the third one here, and the fourth one I covered, I think it was right here somewhere. And I took that trade because of this displacement lower, was targeting an entry around this area here after it swept this area of liquidity. This imbalance was rebalanced, hence my trade. I actually wanted to see continuation lower, but we did not get that, obviously. All right, so we are rejecting that area. All right, so just because we're rejecting it doesn't mean I want to get in now. I want to see structure build up. 50% of the range between this high and this low. 50% of the range between this high and this low. So now, if we close bearish, then again, once again, I'll look for this breaker here to act as resistance. But again, I have to see how the next few 15 to 1 hours close. Three more minutes and I'll call it for the stream. But again, I still still plan to trade in the afternoon session most likely, because between now and 11 o'clock we'll only have one candle on the hourly um, to look and see where we might draw to. On the 15-minute, obviously, we'll have a couple more, but the only way I'll look to probably trade on the 15-minute is if, again, we get that sweep in between now and 1100. Otherwise, I'm staying away. I can get rid of this. I can get rid of this. Let's take a look at the 1 minute. I mean the 5-minute. All right, so we do have a rebalance of this whole imbalance, break or block, entry if you want to get long. But I'm not going to trust that. Let's take a look at the 1 minute. All right, so yeah, continuation does make sense to the upside on the lower time frames, but I'm not going to trust it. What's this for? Oh, no, was that? Yeah, I'm not gonna trust this up move. One-sided imbalance. One-sided imbalance. Yep, I'm not gonna trust it. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and call it there. But again, I have two scenarios. One is if we close very bullish within these time frames, meaning that the gaps are closed completely, price closes above these gaps here, then I'll look for continuation to the upside as long as these highs are not broken. If they're broken going into the 11 and or 1300 macro, then no play. If price draws lower going into the 1100 macro and closes below this breaker here, then I'll look for a continuation of price drawing lower into these relative equal lows. Either or, two biases. I am starting to become more convinced that we are drawing higher. So that's what I look for. I look for continuation to the upside going into the afternoon session. Um, but yeah, pretty good week. Um, Yesterday, losses in the morning, really good wins for the 11 and 1500 macro. So overall, a pretty good week. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll see you next week.